Yeah, Ramadan's over. Ramadan, sorry. I'm not like that. Um, Eid's tomorrow, inshallah. I'm happy, man. I'm happy. This Ramadan went quick. It didn't feel like I fasted, to be fair, purely because we ate basically when I ate normally in a day. What affected me this month was coffee, and you don't, because when you have habits, right, you don't realize until they're done. And coffee's a big one for me. Getting to the end of the month, I started to sort of realize, okay, I don't really need coffee as much, but my God, at the start, I would look at I'd walk past a blank street or I'd walk past a pool or something like that, and I'd be like, this video is going to be a bit more topical. It's just about messaging and how people message things. The place where it's most prevalent, we would say in the UK and the US, Hollywood, but obviously in other realms in other worlds, they've got their own, entertainment sectors. I'm from Algeria, and I grew up watching Algerian sitcoms, especially in Ramadan. We're known for making sort of comedies, just as the event ends, and we're all sitting down eating in the family room. It's sort of almost like a tradition, just to slap on a sitcom and watch it as we're eating. They're easily digestible. Some would say they're broad, but they're funny, and they're you can sit down and watch them with the family. The darker sort of more series are more down the line into the night, and if everyone's watching it, it's sort of the perfect opportunity for certain things to be said that normally wouldn't be able to be said. And there's this one actor who I actually mentioned in the past video who's recently gotten very ill, and he created a sitcom called Jimmy Family, which essentially just follows a normal day of a normal family in Algeria. And it sort of, again, it's a situational comedy. It's a sitcom. It just follows different, situations, and every day is different. You don't have to watch it in sequence. There are some episodes which are in parts, but you don't have to watch it in sequence. Like, you can just watch them randomly. I do realize that I'm speaking about something very niche here, but I will turn it into something that can be Anyway, that's the first season. Third season was in 2011, and it follows them outside of the home sort of setting, and it follows them on a road trip almost, but they get caught in some bother. Anyway, that's not important. I'm not here to explain the plot to you. There's a certain bit of the sitcom which breaks the fourth wall. Like, for me anyway, when I watched it, as you grow up, you sort of, when you're a child, you don't really pay attention to it, but when you grow up and you're sort of more aware of the world, that bit of the TV show was very poignant. Poignant? Why am I speaking like that? Poignant. Essentially, it rounded itself off. From the start to the end, it explained everything that it had to explain. I'll just put the video here with subtitles, obviously, and you just watch for yourself.
عقل بابا بالعقل.
بابا حقا شكون اللي مرفه في بلادنا؟
وسام بيل جيتس. لا يا اخو هذاك امريكاني، يقول لك في بلادنا شكون اللي مرفه.
ايه ترفع امريكاني ولا كيما احنا هنا عندنا المرفيين بنتي، بصح هما ما يحبوش يقولوا اسماء.
علاش بصح؟
بنتي هما شغل متواضعين، على بالك تواضع بنتي، ما يحبوش يبينوا اسماءهم، هما يحبوا شغل يعيشوا في السترة. فهمتي كيف بنتي؟
ايه بصح بابا هما كيصرفوا يخلصوا لهم دراهم كيما احنا.
لا بنتي، لا هما قد ما يصرفوا يزيدوا دراهمهم يولدوا. فهمتي بنتي؟
بصح المرفهين كيف حتى ترفهوا؟
هما بنتي ترفهوا خدموا بنتي، خدموا عرقوا يا بنتي. ماشي صح. وحبسي هنا بنتي، حبيتي تباسي هنا، حبيتي الفيلم يحبس هنا.
From start to finish, it's a social commentary on oligarchies, which is very, very heavy stuff to explain to a little girl like that. But you see at the end where he points at the camera and says, "So, what do you want this film to stop here?" Essentially saying that if we carry on speaking about this, we're going to get cancelled. Algeria in those days was very, very, very dictatorial, and it still kind of is, but in those days it was bad. But I just sort of wanted to speak about messaging and how you bring messages across and how effective that is, because what that was essentially even him saying that we shouldn't speak about this, they're going to lock the film off, is saying something in of itself. I'm a star, sorry guys, you're going to have to deal with it. We see with, you know, politicians, we see it with even entertainers, you know, influencers, their messaging is so, it has to always be on point because you're trying to sell something to people, whether that be your manifesto, whether that be your new brand, whether that be makeup, foundation, I don't know, like you're trying to sell something, and messaging is very important. And I think with everything that you go about in life, you need to get your messaging on point. You need to get that, the killer line, the killer visual, whatever it is. Because if people don't get what you're saying, people aren't going to get what you're saying. They're not going to be interested. They're not going to resonate. They're not going to, you know, want to share. They're not going to want to, you know, expand that the scope of who can see it. If you can't properly communicate your ideas through a screen, and it doesn't always have to be explicit, because like that example showed, it can be done implicitly, because on the surface is him saying, I think we should stop talking about this. Implicitly he's saying, even me speaking about this, you can get shut off, and who do you think is going to shut us off? I don't need to explain that to you, to be fair, you probably got that already, but messaging just needs to be important, and if it's done satisfyingly, like that example there, it's even better. But yeah, it's just a thought that came to my head, and I just wanted to speak about it. Book, I think this is going to be like a segment now in these videos, but I bought a new book today. Well, I bought 3 new books, so I'm not going to show you the others. It's called Comrade Pepper by Gauze, and I don't know, it just looked really cool, and I'm going to enjoy reading it when I start it, obviously. Yeah, no, I saw it last year actually in a bookshop. I was walking past it and I was like, oh, that looks very interesting. And I researched it, and then I read the blurb online. I was like, this is something I need to read. And that's it for today. I think I've waffled on for long enough. Catch you guys later. Have a good eid. In a bit.